In this training, we'll talk about how to use CliniTrack, which is our online electronic health record that allows us to access client files and information from anywhere, whether in the field or in the office, as well as from any computer that has a Wi-Fi connection. So to start, navigate to CliniTrack. There is an initial pop-up to access CliniTrack, so if you have pop-ups turned off for your web browser, you'll need to allow those for CliniTrack in order to have the website work appropriately. CliniTrack can be accessed through any web browser, although Google Chrome tends to work the best, and Firefox is the best backup. It's important not to share this username or password with anyone, as doing so could be a HIPAA violation if anyone were to access CliniTrack without your knowledge. When you start, this is the main screen, and you can navigate to a couple of different places from here. We'll start with looking at client data. So if you want to look up a client's phone number, find out about a client's birth date, or just simply see some demographic or other information about a client, you'll navigate here on the right to Client Data and select Create Update Files. This will take you to a screen with a drop-down menu that will show all the clients that are assigned to you. As you can see, this test account only has one client. Your account will have every client that is assigned to your case. If you don't see a client that you've recently been assigned to, you can talk to the clinic supervisor or the program manager to assign you to that case and make sure that you can see all the data that you need to. So you'll select your client, and it will populate a couple of different places that you can look at information. The first is client demographics over on the left. This, of course, is all of the demographics from their SIMON number, their name, their social security if we have that, and any other information about their address or other contacts that we might have on file for them. This is especially important if you need to call a parent or if you need to add a natural support to their contacts. This is also where you'd find allergy information that can be important to know, especially for high-risk clients, so that we keep everybody safe. So document management is where we store all the documents that we've scanned into the chart. This might be something that the client completed during a therapy session, a worksheet, or an art project, or it might be minutes from a CFT meeting, or an ROI, a release of information. Any documents that are not in CliniTrack itself will be scanned in and stored here. So select Document Management, and you'll see a list of all of the documents that have been scanned in. And then click this blue link on the name of the document in order to view the document. If you have a document that needs to be scanned into CliniTrack, allow the administrative staff to do that by putting it in the To Be Scanned folder in the mailboxes. On CliniTrack, you can create electronic progress notes to add progress notes for any services that you provide for that client to that client's chart. In order to start a progress note, you use the Progress Notes module at the bottom of the page and click Create. This will bring you to a menu that will ask you to select a client. Select the appropriate client. If the client has more than one episode open, you would select the appropriate episode, and then enter the date. Be very careful when entering the date, as CliniTrack will not allow you to edit the date after the note has been created. So if you create a note for the incorrect date, the only way to correct that mistake is to void the note and create a new note for the correct date. Once you've entered the correct date, click Generic Chart Note. None of the other note types are currently being used, as Generic Chart Note gives us the ability to write a note for any type of service that we currently provide. In the Progress Note page, the first thing you'll do is change the CPT code. That is the code that says what type of service that you're providing. This menu here drops down and shows the codes as well as a short name for all the services that we might provide. Let's say that we're providing a rehab service. That's code 551. Then we'll say the location. Were we at the office? Were we in the field? Were we at the client's home or the school? If you select school, CliniTrack will allow you to click any of the schools that we currently have on file for our clients. If your client is attending another school and you need that to be added as a CliniTrack location, please contact the program manager. You'll then also fill in the treatment plan end date. This is the end date for the objectives, which you see listed below. So you can see that the end date for this client is 12:20. CliniTrack displays the objectives in all the progress notes so that you can refer to those in your note and make sure that we're always writing notes to the CRP goals and always keeping those goals in mind when we're providing our interventions. And then we start our SMRF note, status, milestone, intervention, response, and follow-up. Remember, the status is the client's current condition. The milestone is how they're doing on their progress towards their goals. And then again, the bulk of your information should be in the intervention section, where you explain what you did and how that matched the service type. So for a rehab note, I should be mentioning skills. While you'll record in the intervention section the specific responses to each intervention that you gave, the response section allows you to summarize the client's response overall to the service. And then finally, the follow-up is where you record the date that you'll next plan to see the client, as well as any items that you'll need to follow up on at that next meeting. Once you've added all the information about your service into the note and you're ready for that note to be looked over by your clinic supervisor or be added to the medical chart if you're a licensed professional already, you'll click this link to add your electronic signature to the note. One of the functions of CliniTrack is that it will give a warning if one of the objectives in this note has a target date that is expired or will expire soon. This is a warning to our clinicians that the client recovery plan might be expiring, and we need to think about starting a new client recovery plan so that our services are not unauthorized by Medi-Cal. If you see this warning, definitely talk to your supervisor and make sure that the plan is in place to replace that client recovery plan. For now, we'll click OK. CliniTrack will ask you to certify that the services are consistent with the client's treatment plan and that the descriptions of the client behavior and services rendered are accurate and complete. Because again, a medical record is a legal document in some cases and should always be completed with accuracy and thoroughness. Click I agree. Once you've saved that note, it will take you to the page where you can view all the existing progress notes for a specific client. You utilize the filters, and you can filter this by date. CliniTrack will automatically start looking at 1 month, but you can change that to any date range that you'd like. You can also filter by the provider, looking at the notes that you've written or the notes that someone else has written if you're on the same case. You can also filter by client and by note status. All of these note statuses means that the note is in a different phase in the process of approval. Draft notes are notes that you've written but not yet signed. You can view these notes if you started a note and needed to add some more information before the supervisor sees it. New notes are notes that have been signed by the provider but have not yet been signed by the clinic supervisor. QA Ready and QA OK have to do with a quality assurance check. This is not currently functional for Mountain Counseling notes, but could be used in the future. Notes pending approval will show you all of your draft notes and new notes, anything that has not yet been signed by the clinic supervisor. And then countersigned notes will show you all of the notes that have been signed by the clinic supervisor. These are the notes that are officially a part of the medical record and are finished. You can ignore the link for co-provider signature as we're not currently utilizing co-providers in our services or our notes. So let's say I want to look at the note I just signed. I could click New Notes or Notes Pending Approval, as I know the clinic supervisor hasn't looked at it yet, or I could just leave it on All Notes and see what there is. Click Update View, and you can see that I've written 2 notes for this client, one Plan Development and one Individual R, which stands for Individual Rehab. If you'd like to look at a note, you can click the blue letters on the note type, and that will bring you back to the page. If it was your note and it's not yet signed by the clinic supervisor, you can edit and click Save Changes. If it's somebody else's note, you can't make any changes. Additionally, if it's already been signed by the clinic supervisor, you won't be able to make changes. Click Previous Menu to return to the list of notes. And over here in the status, you'll see more information about where it is in the approval process. You can see this note says New. That means that I've signed it, but nobody else has looked at it yet. This note, however, says Revised DC. Those initials stand for Donna Clark, our Clinic Supervisor Extraordinaire, and as it's been revised, I can see that Donna has made changes to that note, and I need to look at it again to see if she made any comments or if I need to make any further changes in order to make that note ready to approve. Once it's been approved, it will show Approved in this status bar, and you'll know that the note is finished and added to the medical record. To access the CDIs, you'll click Claims Processing at the bottom left. Then choose Manual Billing and Universal CDI Log. This will bring you to a list to all the CDIs that have been created by all of our staff. In order to create a new CDI, click Create New Log. You'll enter the date of service that you'd like to create a CDI for, the cost center, which will be San Bernardino County Department of Behavioral Health, and then the reporting unit. This is the program that your client belongs to. So if you have a client in CIS, Children's Intensive Services, and a client in Success First that you saw on the same day, you'll need to create 2 CDIs for that day. You need 1 CDI per day per program. And then you'll enter your staff name. Click Next. And CliniTrack will show all of the services that you provided for that day. Now, oftentimes you might see a screen like this that says Found No Service. If that happens, it means that your notes for that day have not yet been approved, as CliniTrack will only allow approved notes to move to the CDI screen. Review the services listed there to make sure that every service you provided that day is listed on the CDI. You can compare it to your billing resource guide to make sure that you haven't missed anything. And then you'll click to insert your electronic signature. Once that's clicked, administrative staff will be able to enter that data into Simon, and they'll use the data entry list. Don't click the data entry, as this causes problems in our administrative processes. Keep in mind the timeline for documentation of services. Progress notes should be written within 24 hours of the service provided. Any corrections that your clinic supervisor requests are due within 24 hours after that. And then you have 24 hours after the note is approved to create the CDI so that information can be submitted to be billed in a timely manner.